Hello, Mary Gedden Kaufman here, registered dietitian and board-certified healthcare chaplain. If you're like me, sometimes as I practice dietetics, I haven't always felt appreciated. I might not feel as utilized as I could. And I wondered at times, am I missing something? Like, really, what's under the hood with this patient? Consider there's something more we've been missing. We can make a difference for ourselves and our patients if we slow down. So why are so many of us unfulfilled? It's because we're looking at what's under the hood. If we look at our strengths as dietitians, we are a marvel understanding evidence-based practices, the science of nutrition. We understand how our body systems, the physiology, all of it's connected. What we've been missing is we've learned how to listen for what motivates a person, to do motivational interviewing, how to help them make SMART goals. All of this is so good. But we ask, why are so many of us not feeling fulfilled in the practice? So really, actually, we've been not understanding how to renew the human person. What we're after, according to the scope of practice for integrative and functional dietitians from the Academy, is to consider that every person is an N of one. We are biochemically and physiologically unique. But what's interesting is oftentimes we make blanket recommendations to our patients from body-mind practices. We don't really practice what we preach either for ourselves. So we work and work and work, but we don't take the time to renew our own human spirit. We want to work to support our patients and ourselves to have this positive vitality. The statement for integrative and functional dietitians calls us to work for positive vitality, a wellness from the ground up. So spirituality is essential to integrate into lifestyle medicine to promote positive vitality. It's really the secret sauce for having a living and fulfilling life that we've been misunderstanding and missing many times. So many times we want to work on ourselves first to consider our own life-work balance. We have to know what recharges us, to pay attention to those subtle little niggles in our own heart, because those are signs that we need to slow down and consider what our motives, what our personal needs are. We really consider that kind of discussion, that reflection on what's bothering us and what we need as a spiritual activity. We all need those vital moments of sanity to consider ourselves whether we're religious or not. We might be surprised if we take a moment to be quiet, what bubbles up inside of us. For me, I like to spend a few moments every morning reflecting on the day before, reflecting on what I was thinking about overnight, using maybe a sacred text. I really like Psalm 139 from the Old Testament, that we're beautifully and wonderfully made. I've put a really short but really impactful exercise for dietitians in the comments below, and I hope that you download it and use it in your own reflections tomorrow morning maybe. And put some comments here to let me know how you liked it and what you'd really like to recharge yourself. Ask yourself, really, what's your sense of higher power? What's your ultimate source? In our next video, we're going to talk about ways to define and work with spirituality in our dietitian practice. So that will follow this one. But you're going to have some practical strategies to renew yourself today. So understanding that we need this renewal is not a sign of weakness. It just shows that life is really complex and that we need to support ourselves in a different way because we sometimes start to wither. So here it is. Slow down today and consider. Let your own life speak to you. So what is that force for good that renews you? For me, I love walking outside. I like to be outside. I like to have good, engaging conversations. I like to think deep thoughts and learn new things. So those are all spiritual means that renew my human spirit. And also notice what tends to bring you peace. We've all had people in our lives that we just feel good being around them. That when we are struggling, we hope we run into them. They are people that have cultivated this sense of calm that helps them stay grounded. Maybe it's a nurse on your unit that you work with, another dietitian. Maybe it's a neighbor that just seems to bring your tempo down into a comfortable zone. Think about, ask them, how do they renew themselves? And now start with yourself. When we suggest mind and body practices, many times we follow the evidence, we're strong in that, but we suggest yoga or qigong or meditation, something we've read about. But I really want to encourage you, by cultivating your own spirituality and your own awareness of what is spiritual in the life, you can listen to your patients differently. Notice how they're wired and what would renew their spirit. I remember an Iowa farmer. I'm from Iowa originally and worked several years as a dietitian there. He was working with another practitioner who had suggested Ayurveda to him. Now, nothing wrong with Ayurveda, but it was so different than his culture, he didn't know where to start. I suggested, well, just go to your Lutheran church and worship with the people that you normally do. Go out on the tractor and notice the beauty around you and reflect and think about the force of growth out in the field. And that's what did it for him. I found what would work for him. Many times, maybe you're like me, but you haven't thought about these kind of things or brought them into your practice and your tools are rusty. So I suggest that many times we've been disillusioned, we got depleted as professionals when we haven't taken time to notice what matters and what renews us. So in this light, I'm going to ask that you learn how to speak your own truth, provide care that's powerful for others by noticing what spiritual renewal they have, and notice as you do that, as you take time for those niggles of your heart to surface, that you feel renewed. So in the next video, if you want to know more about what spiritual activities can look like in dietetics practice, it's a short video that follows, but click it and it's right here.